Hey, hi, how are you? Vadd here. We are on the Ragnarok Mac playing ARK Survival Evolved, and we are showcasing the DinoOverhaulX mod. I have been hatching loads of Apex T-Rexes, so if we lose one, it is not going to be catastrophic. This is not necessarily the optimal progression path for DinoOverhaulX. You can follow the path I've taken to progress through the mod, but it's not necessarily the best way. There are lots and lots of great ways to progress through the Docs mod. I'm also going to be adjusting some of the footage moving forward. I've been showing a lot of the grind, and I'm going to be showing significantly less of that grind. At this point, you should know how to get into a starter base. You should know how to get your first couple of passive tames. A Pteranodon is a great tame. I really spend a pretty significant amount of time like this just running and getting killed, and it's just not interesting to share, or like this just trying to get out of my base and get from point A to point B and just getting chased all around the map. I don't think this is good content. You can have your own fun getting chased by Manticores, and there's only so many times I can show you me trying to run away and get killed. Hey, if you're enjoying this playthrough or it's helped you, I hope you share it with a friend. With the Docs mod, I've done a whole bunch of work with these Dilos. Their animation in egg laying is significantly slower than the Dodos, so I tamed up a few more so I could get the treats moving, and I did a little back-end base work running out of storage. I mentioned before the Apex Phiomia is a thing. The Poop Pig has a good source of early game metal. It's not a challenging tame or creature to fight. And you can see I got the tungsten and that titanium. An Apex Mammoth would also be a great early game tame. You can tame them passively. And here I'm just outside the base. I take out an Apex Sabertooth and I get some more of those Docs raw metals. I come across an Apex Rex here, and I'm able to run this bad boy down, and again I'm gonna get some more of those Docs metals, and I got a couple of nice saddles and some gems and some Doom Prime meat. That's the first time we've got any of the Docs specific meats. I mentioned it a couple episodes back that as we continue to progress deeper into the mod, we're gonna get our hands on some more Manticore eggs. We're gonna get our hands on some dragon eggs, some wyvern eggs. And in order to hatch those eggs and raise the young, we need to prove not only that we're worthy, but they have a special food they like. And Doom Prime meat is currently the food that is for the dragons. So as you move through the mod, you're going to come across resources that you might not know what they're for. Hey, we know what that red star signifies. That's telling us this is our prime lava golem stuck in that same waterfall we got stuck in. I pumped about 80,000 health points into this Rex. I remember getting hit for 50,000 last time, and it just doesn't matter. I could have put 100,000 HP in this Rex, and even with the saddle of 20 armor, it's just way too strong for us. We really need to get our hands on some Docs specific armor. We really need to get our hands on some pygmies, and we're close. I was out on a farming run, and I ran across another rock drake egg, and this Kentosaur was stuck in a tree, so I freed it like any good farmer, and it attacked me. I thought I lost it, but it turns out that that Tender Loving Care TLC really did it to me this time. Yeah, this feels like TLC to me. I did manage to escape, outrun the Kentosaur, the Allosaurs, and the Spino in the water. A raptor ran me down. I'm out here farming again, and an Apex Leech Prime Wild drops a green bomb, and its minions run me down. I really have hours and hours of footage of just trying to get from point A to point B and just getting destroyed. Here, I'm outside my base, and lo and behold, It's our nemesis, or at least I think it is. I need to get a better look, but who else would be on our doorstep looking for vengeance? That's right, it's the Mega Carno. This is surely not what we want. I'm going to try and get the Mega Carno a little bit further away from our front door, and he's aggressive to me, running the wrong way, but he's coming back around, so I'm going to try and get him a little further away. But the triads of the saber-tooth uphill, yeah, they just wrecked me again, so I'm just going to fight him. It doesn't end well for me, but I feel good about it. There are some good moments when I'm out farming. I saw this Basilosaurus not under mass attack from a whole bunch of underwater tames. They're usually chasing them. And I said, hey, that's a vanilla arc dino. It's immune to electrocution. And if I'm going to go into the water, it's not a bad tame. So I popped in here and I grabbed one of these. I was out farming and I saw this big monkey guy just wrecking things, and there were 3 of them within a couple of hills of each other. I'm going to tame all 3 of them, and they were pretty uneventful tames. I built a couple of traps that they got a little bit stuck on. I had the narcotics to knock them out, and I pretty much just knocked them out and tamed them. They weren't something I was out looking for. It's just part of the Ark adventure, but there wasn't anything super exciting here to show. So I have 3 of these monkeys tames. I was out farming again, and I ran across this snowstorm and a rock, and I pulled out my creature finder, and it's an apex penguin prime. These penguin primes, see, it says penguin consumes you. When it says consumes you, it's a slow effect. We can see it with the particles. We could have read the message on top of the screen. And the bottom right of the screen, you can see your status effects. And I have this kind of green ice cube slow foot effect. And in our mounts effects in the top right corner of the screen, we have those same effects. And I haven't edited this footage at all. I am sprint flying at 0 speed. I am legitimately slowed. I thought it'd just be fun to fly through the flurry, and I'm wrong. This is a massive slow effect. So when we go back to take on that prime raptor we met before, it throws that fireball. This prime penguin has the massive slow. I mentioned before, we need to be hunting down those golden Pteranodons and golden Dodos. We have an apex Pteranodon. We have an apex Rex. I decided it was time to run down a few and see if we could find some saddles. I had a lot of fun chasing these guys. It's terrible footage. It's mostly me running through rocks and trees, just desperately trying to find what I'm after. And I was so excited. It got stuck in this wall, just golden dodo butt for me. And it's only a matter of time before something bigger and meaner comes and eats me. So I'm in a bit of a rush. I hope you like the colors on this Rex. I got some fun color mutations as I've been breeding them up. Nothing too wild, but certainly something fun to play around with. These golden dodos were an absolute blast to run down, chase, and devour. They had loads of great materials in them. Not all of them useful to me right now, but I'm gonna hopefully use most of them at one point in time or another. It was a nice break from farming or from trying to not die to just take my time to run down these dodos. I have fairly boosted rates to try and respect my time in the one-man tribe. Don't worry, you never leave the swamp alive. Yes, that's right, a Sarco still killed me. I have fairly boosted rates, so you're going to see some pretty substantial tungsten and titanium drops. That is not normal. This Rex I boosted over 100,000 health in, and I took some massive fall damage. This golden dodo is so fast, and part of the challenge here isn't just that they're fast, but they lead me into other dangers. I was really thinking about getting an Apex Thylacolea, those big cats that can kind of jump and pounce and have a little bit of a bleed bone breaking attack. I really thought that that might be helpful in running these dodos down in a future chase. I don't know if I'm going to show more golden dodo chases. They all kind of look like this. It's running, jumping, and desperately trying to catch these guys before they go somewhere tragic. You'll notice in the first dodo I killed that upon killing the dodo, it looted me the stuff right to my inventory. This time the golden dodo goes down and I don't get anything. I hop off my Rex, not concerned at all, having complete faith it's here, and there it is. A whole bunch of great saddles. There's another Ascendant Rex saddle. Here's the third golden dodo, and this one was thankfully out kind of near the highlands, and it tries to make a run for it, but I've got it in my sights. It's awesome to be on the Apex Rex. You notice those raptors didn't attack me. Like I was saying earlier in the video, there are lots of paths starting out in the Dox mod. Here's one other kind of wild moment I had where I'm just out minding my own business trying to steal some eggs, and this poison wyvern wanted none of it. You can see it's level 500. I'm level 1300 on an Apex Pteranodon. I said, you know what? If you're really not going to leave me and chase me across the entire map twice, I guess I'll just fight you. And it was a very long fight. I've sped this up significantly. Basically, I was just a little faster, and I would get ahead and I'd kind of loop back around and hit it with the spin attack. And I was doing fairly decent damage, about 1,000 a hit, and Poison Wyvern was hitting me pretty hard as well, but it was more or less a fair trade. I am significantly higher level with more health and more damage, so I was pleasantly surprised at how well my Agent Silent P took him on. That's an Apex Pteranodon here. There are lots of great paths to starting out in Dox. I mentioned before that you could tame the Trike for your first tame. I mentioned in this video that you could go for an Apex Mammoth for your first tame. You have options. The path I took is only one of the options, and Dox is a mod that's continuing to change. So what I'm sharing with you now is not necessarily the meta, and in the future it might even be a little outdated. So if you're watching this video at a later date, I hope you have enjoyed things so far. I would encourage you to make sure that things are progressing successfully for you. I'm here trying to get my first prime level dino tame. I've got an Apex Pteranodon with about 10,000 health. I have 1,850% melee and 20 armor in the saddle. I do not. The Apex Compy Prime here has just under 1,000 health. Was it 985, does it say? And I'm gonna try and use my flight to my advantage. It can't fly, but it summoned a horde of little combies in, so I'm really glad I didn't try and fight this on foot. I think I would have had a lot more success with the Rex. I think if I could just drop my Rex and start munching, I would munch my way right through these compies. This was a bit of a hassle, and when I get the Compy Prime down to fairly low, it has 11,800 health. Okay, so we have about the same amount of health. I don't summon minions, but this is the lowest level of boss in the Dox mob, these prime compies, and these compies are super important for progression. There are some mechanics to this compy that go well beyond fighting it, but for my first prime level dino kill, I'm fairly content to give it a go. I have this Pteranodon that I have got 100% imprinted. I don't have a great saddle. I don't have my Dox armor yet. I don't have a Pygmy yet, but I'm not in a bad position to try and fight the compy. It's not landing a lot of shots on me. You can see in the top right corner, I've got 10,000 health on this Pteranodon. I still have about 8,000 health, and this compy is slowly losing its health as well. We're about even. The bleed attack is really hurting me though, so in a minute here I'm going to need to fly up and try and heal myself. The Dox mod has some health potions that if I was really having some struggle here, I could use one of the health potions to regain some of my health in a fashion much more meaningful than just forcing my mount to eat meat. I haven't sped up this fight at all. It's a fairly slow fight. Most of the time I've sped up the footage when I'm flying boring places or taming simple nodes. Here I'm just trying to get my health back. It really took a good bite out of me. I'm not sure if the minions are doing all that damage, but I really think it's the prime compy. And with this prime compy, it is maybe the lowest tier of prime bosses. It's still a prime boss though. This is a boss tier dino. So if we can successfully defeat it, that's going to be very exciting. It's going to be our first official prime dino kill. We have been absolutely deleted by the prime lava golem more than once, and the mega Carno has certainly roasted us a few times himself. But the prime compy is one of the few primes that you might want to consider taming. You know, there's other prime dinos you could try and fight, but when you tame an apex compy prime, you can then use it to also progress. So in this scenario, I said, hey, I'm a little low on, it's down to its last 1,500 health. I have all 9,000 of my 10,000 health. I really thought I could take it on here. I go down fast. That was hubris. That was a mistake. This was bad. My character has 600 armor, 600 health-ish, and I pretty much get deleted. I'm going back with my Apex Res, and we're going to name this Rex Griffin. You just can't trust necromancers. You know, they're always coming back. I've got 10 more Griffins in the back pocket. And when you're battling a Dox dino, there's a time period before their health completely regens. I don't know what that number is, but we have died, but we're back on our base. If we can get back there quick enough, I'm really hoping that that prime compy, all of their health hasn't completely regenerated. At this point, you might be saying to me, hey, Vadd, you've made a lot of progress in this mod, but where are the pygmies? Well, the rest of this video has been going on. My crops have been growing. That's right, it actually takes real time for the crops to grow. I'm back with that Apex Compy Prime, and I'm back with Griffin, and Griffin's about to just do this compy dirty. That's right, the compy's health had not regened, and I got some nice gear from the compy, and that is our first official prime dino kill. We used an Apex Rex to kill the Apex compy. I'm gonna try and now put down a industrial forge, do a little more base building. This is going to help with some of our metal smelting. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, moving forward here from episode 8, I'm going to change the format quite a bit. I'm going to show you significantly less of the grind and try and just show you more of the highlights. With the forge, we also have the tungsten, titanium, the metal, what we need to put down the Dox crafting table. We could have gone for this crafting table much earlier. I just wasn't in a rush to get it. I knew that I needed the Dodos, the Dillos in the garden with our rock carrots, our savaroot, our citronella, our long grass to progress. And I was more interested in showcasing that aspect because we're going to spend a lot of time here at this crafting table moving forward. This crafting table is the gateway into the majority of the Dox mod. The Dox Book of Smarts is a great tool that gives you some guidance when you're trying to get from point A to point B. But the Dox crafting station, this is really where the bread and the butter of what we need in our pouch to get from point A to point B. There are lots of really fun things we can build from the Dox crafting station, and I'm focused on the Dox high output refining forge because that is in the Dox industrial mining forge. That mining forge is going to gather metal, stone, flint. It's going to gather several resources for us. In the Dox mod, it seems to me that the goal of the mod isn't for you to spend your time grinding resources, it's to be progressing to challenging those higher tier bosses. So this mining industrial forge is going to help us gather resources a little bit AFK without having to be out there with their pickaxe. In this Dox forge, not the mining drill, but the forge here is going to let us take our raw tungsten and titanium, and now we can transition those from raw materials into smelted bars. And those are key ingredients for a lot of the blueprints that we may have picked up, a lot of the ammo or the weapons we may have picked up. Those are key ingredients for building a lot of the Dox materials. One other thing I want to highlight in there, you could see there were some health potions we could be crafting here. I talked about them a little bit with the Prime Compy fight. Those Dox health potions would have gone a long way in potentially turning the tide. I may the terrible mistake of landing on the beach and trying to fight the compy on its ground. I should have just kept to my spin attacks and flying up and flying away. There are not only a number of docks tools we can build in here, there are also some docks structures that we can build in the docks crafting station. Like I said just a moment ago, this really is going to be the bread and butter of several of the next couple of videos. Most likely a lot of docks isn't going to be spent grinding materials. It's going to be spent in pursuit of the heads of our enemies. It's going to be spent in pursuit of killing some magos. We're going to try and get some significantly better armor. I would love a full set of docks armor. The docks armors actually have bonuses and buffs that are relevant to helping us survive. That lava golem has been blowing us up. However, we still have regular armor. We're still on a low tier dino. I'm back here at the greenhouse, and some of the crops have finally grown. This took almost what felt like forever. I have the full 300% buff out here. Thankfully, nothing's come through and wrecked my greenhouse. One thing we haven't built yet is the docks walls. In the docks crafting table, we are going to be able to construct a docks wall that's going to help protect our base. It's not going to stop something from killing us that wants to kill us, but it is going to help things from clipping through, glitching through, or just spawning inside of our base, which would be very sad. You can see here in the pygmy farm in my crop plots that I have loads of fantastic resources. These are the exact resources that I mentioned for the last 6 or 7 episodes that, hey, these are what we need to progress. I have plenty of these now where we can go make a load of pygmy treats. When we go out taming pygmies, there's a recommendation in the Doc's Book of Smarts to put in between 5 and 10 pygmy treats into the inventory, which is what we're looking to do. Could I have just rushed and gotten 1 treat? Yes, I could have. But if I rush and get 1 treat and I run down the first pygmy I find and I put it in the inventory, remember, there's a chance that that pygmy will not like the treat and will not want to be our friend and will not be tamed. So when we go out to do our pygmy taming, by following my progression, I've tried to put us in a position for a high probability of success. We're going to be able to craft up over 100 treats, because remember, the dodos were the first things we started taming, and they've been laying eggs this entire time. That's right, if I had time to hatch 10 rexes, I had time for our dodos to lay a couple 100 eggs. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you're looking forward to the next one as we get further into the docks mod. We are moving just out of the early game here. We're still there, but not for long. Until next time. If you learned something or enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you have joined and enjoyed before, welcome back. If you would like to see more quality content, please consider joining me in supporting the channel through Patreon and utilizing the affiliated links. Thanks!